Hello, it's the Jockio here at Reset Industries. We're learning all about Factorio in our multi-part series. In our last episode, we finished converting to electric mining and we built a small factory to produce automation science pack and logistics science pack in a belt-driven design here. Doesn't take up too much space. So what should we do now? Well, we've been promising perhaps a couple of times a radar grid. We can finally make that. We need to tidy up a bit. We have some obsolete infrastructure at this point. And we need to make steel in preparation for building a car, perhaps? Because in our last episode, we had made a beeline for automobilism with our technology research in the tree. So let's see if we can get there. All right. Well, we need to build a radar grid. Let's go into combat, hover over radar. We can see plate gear circuit, our old friends. So let's run up here to the plate gear circuit lines and just hold F for a bit. And we'll take some of their supplies, but whatever. Now we can right click a couple of times, and now we're making radar really fast. And we can also go back under logistics and right click small electric pole a bunch. We don't have the big electric pole yet, sadly, but this will have to do in the meantime. So let's bust out a radar. Under the inventory, we go grab that, close up the inventory. I'm going to zoom way out, and as you wave this around, you can see that blue area over there on the mini-map. That is the continuous coverage distance, and you can see that sector scanning progress here. It's blank, and then there's continuous coverage distance 3. What is this 3 all about? So if you hit F5 on your keyboard, you can see we have this grid, and then chunks, or like a grid within a grid, rather. So if you put the radar down anywhere within this grid right here, it'll have that same coverage, but as you switch over into another chunk, that's when the coverage changes. So the continuous coverage distance is 3 of these chunks. So yeah, it'll be like this chunk, and then that, and then that, and then that chunk. But then there's also a exploration coverage distance where the radar will occasionally ping really distant lands, and you'll get a temporary live view, and it'll go away, but it'll build out your map very effectively. So I want to make like a 3x3 grid of radar here right now. So let's get our central radar covering most, if not all, the factory if we can manage it. Maybe over here. Yeah, that'll do for now. This is pretty darn centrally located. Let's just put a radar down there. Give it some power. Bam. There you go. Let's hit F5 and close up that grid now that we know how that grid works. And now when we bring out our next radar, we can see as we're waving it around, we got some overlapping coverage there, which is, not horrible, but we'd like to have, a strong grid where it's all lined up perfectly if we can manage it. So let's start by heading out west. And then we'll see what's going on out there. We can pull some power out there on our way to the west. So let's hit Q, left click and hold. And now we're running. Let's zoom out and left click and hold. So we can kind of see where we're going here. And then we're going to put another radar down. Oh, we're coming up into some rough terrain. Let's see how we're doing. We can get a little squirrely with our power path here. That's totally fine. Let's see here. Oh, hey, that is actually perfect. Look at that, right around here. So let's put that down. Like you can see if we wave, there's overlap there. And there's a gap there, so like this is the chunk right here. So let's put a radar down. Now we can head to the north. Q, click and hold. We can run through here and just keep holding. It's alright if we get squirrely. Later on we can have robots go and deconstruct all this for us so we don't have to go pull all this down manually. So don't worry about it. Let's run in a squirrely fashion through there. And let's check our radar grid again. Boom, we zoom out. Oh, we're very close. It's like up here somewhere, so let's continue pulling the power. And boom, here we are. Yes, there we are. Let's put a radar down, and let's head east. And this one will be pretty easy to spot. We should be roughly north of the center of the factory. So yeah, we can spot this pretty easily. Oop, running through that thick forest again. Alright, and we're almost above the factory. And right about there, you can see on the mini-map over there on the right. Let's check again. Yep, that's right. Let's continue to the east. Gotta get our northeast sector covered. And maybe we can find some oil through our exploration coverage distance. Haven't seemed to see any so far. And that's essential, so that's a little worrying. We may have to get some rail systems going sooner rather than later. Alright, let's check our radar grid right about now. Hey, we're doing good there. Let's put a radar down. Let's cue and hold, or pick up the pole, click and hold, and run down. Oh my, very thick forest. We're still holding. Oh, we may have to put a radar in the middle of the lake. I'm not sure what we can get away with here. I can see the lake coming up on the mini-map as we're heading to the south here. But we want to be pretty much east of the factory, directly east. And the lake is right there. So let's see, right at the edge of the lake, what kind of coverage we got here. How about that? It's perfect. Okay, now let's give ourselves some more poles. Let's hold right click and harvest some wood. Just a little bit. Enough to keep us in small electric poles. Let's make some more of those. Q on top of there, click and hold. Let's run around the lake. Totally fine to run around the lake with poles. And now let's get center with the lake and then start heading south again. And now we're in the southeast sector. Let's check our radar grid right about here. Oh, we are way early. Let's keep pulling that down. Maybe more around here. Let's check that grid again. Yeah, that's more like it. Let's put a radar down. And we're pulling to the east. West, what am I talking about? Now we're heading for the south sector in our 3x3 grid. And we're about to come up directly south of the factory. So let's see where we are in the grid right about now. Might be in the middle of the forest. Let's check. It kind of is, but let's pull the power back out here and put radar down. Okay, now we're heading for the southwest sector. Pulling that through. Okay. We may need to get some more wood and produce more small electric poles. Let's see how far we can get. Yeah, we're going to need to do that. Let's hold right click. Harvest some wood and produce more poles. And then we should be done with our radar grid. And then after that, we need to start producing steel plate and tidy up. We need to tear down some of our obsolete infrastructure just to keep things clean. And right about here. Okay, let's put a radar down. Yep, that's looking good right about there. So now if we zoom out on our map, we can see we have a 3x3 grid of continuous coverage, and we're occasionally pinging distant lands here. This ping is from the exploration coverage distance, and it'll go away here in a bit. There you go. So now it's back to fog of war, but it has built out our map. So if we just let our radar run here for a while, we can build out our map pretty far. And let's get back to work. Alright, so now when we get back up here, we need to tidy up, make steel, and then hopefully in time for engine to be done. I think that's after logistics 2 here. We have engine and then automobilism to get a car. We can see if we can get a car by the end of this episode here. Alright, long trip back. We don't have to do these long running trips here. Once we get a car, we're going to go far. Now we're back. Okay, so let's tidy up. We have this old belt factory here, which, let's put it through one more cycle, as long as we're here, before we tear it down. Gonna give it a bunch of iron, and take those belts. But these mini factories out here, yeah, we don't need these anymore. We can just run down the plate gear circuit belt and then make these on demand in our hands very quickly. So now I feel justified in taking all this down. And we'll get some machines back in our inventory for use elsewhere. So that's always nice. Alright, and the inserters for that matter. Eventually we are going to want to convert to fast inserters. So we'll prepare for that. We have them researched as we're officially into logistics research now, so let's think about that. What are those ingredients, by the way? If we look at fast inserter, it takes a regular inserter and then 2 more plates and circuits. Okay, we have all those ingredients. So yeah, the regular inserter is just 1 plate, 1 gear, 1 circuit. So then, yeah, it ends up just being 3 plates, 3 circuits, and 1 gear to make one of these fast inserters. Okay. Not that expensive. And they are very fast. So let's think about that. Okay, holding F, picking up all this, and we have cleaned up pretty effectively here. So, that's nice. Let's go into our iron ore patch and think about how we're going to make steel here. Steel is under intermediate products. If we hover over it, we can see it takes 5 iron plates. It's very hungry just to make 1 steel plate. And it goes into furnaces. Okay, so we should have an iron plate line exclusively for steel plate, because it's going to be needing a bunch and we don't want to starve the rest of the system while it's getting made. So let's copy paste this iron ore line, and we're going to duplicate this. Yeah, we could bring it up here, sure, why not? So let's actually go into the map mode so we can keep this all aligned and looking good. Let's go up and shift click there, just in case we have to issue any deconstruction orders, and let's merge those coal lines. The top and bottom lines in this setup are coal lines. We can line them where it's blue there, and then shift click again just in case we have to do any deconstruction orders. Q to release that. And now we've got our plans. We're going to send iron ore in here on these inner lines, and then iron plate's going to come out this way and just going to go right back around and then head into another series of furnaces. So that's the plan. Let's see if we can bust this out pretty fast. We're going to need another few iron ore lines here as well. Let's pull this out. Continue mining. Alright, this is pure here. Very good. And we were on the bottom side of these electric poles. So let's pull those out. There we are. Excellent. So let's see how much iron ore we can get coming out of here. Okay, that is impure. Let's not do that yet. And now we have these drills set up. We should make some more drills. We can do it very quickly in hand, as we have most of the ingredients. Let's go run down the circuit line, or the gear line, rather, to pick up a handful of gear. Hold F. And that's feeling pretty good. Okay, now we can go back and make a bunch more drills on demand in hand. And while those are getting made, we can throw down some of these power poles. And if we interrupt the blueprint of the stone furnace, don't worry, we can fill that in very quickly once we have these power poles in place. Just click and hold and run. So let's see how much we have in the way of these furnaces. We only have 6. Let's shift click on furnaces and hold F and pick up some extra stone, and shift click again on furnaces, so we're making a bunch in hand now. You can just Q and click and hold, and it fills in very easily. And same here, click and hold and run. And there's 40 furnaces filled out just like that, easy peasy. To do a bit of the Factorio rhythm game here. Oop. Come on, mouse. Work with me. There you go. Flip that around. So this will be unloading the iron plate. And this is loading in the iron ore. There we are. So now we got to bust out a bunch of long-handed inserters in hand. Let's deploy some of our drills just to see what we're looking at here. Okay, that is impure. That is pure, but it's only 298. Waste not, want not. Let's put some down there. Ooh, and this coal line could go around slightly here. So let's redirect that. Let's have the stone go underground here. Let's give ourselves some underground belt. Let's say stone goes underground there. Coal comes along here. And then goes there. Alright, we can lift up this coal line now. And we'll have room for our drills. Or just one additional drill, I guess. But hey, there you go. Alright, now we've got these 2 iron ore lines additional. We have some additional ore here that's pretty squirrely. It's only a couple of hundred. Let's see though. Waste not, want not again. And let's pull that iron ore line out. Give ourselves some additional underground belts. We're going to be going under some stuff here. Let's pull that up and over. It's going on the inside line. Bam. Okay, we need that other iron ore line on this inside line. So let's get it going on. Let's pull that up and over. And, oops, churned early. Let's churn right about here. And now we need a coal split. Let's split it right here. And coal is in pretty low demand, so we should be able to get away with these multiple splits on splits on splits. You know, should be all right. On that note, yeah, we're going to split on the split. So let's split coal here, and then we send it to the outside path up here. Oh, and let's have it go under and around. We can reconfigure that because we're going to need coal for the top layer as well. Like the very, very top up here. There. Oh yeah, we don't want to do fast builds quite yet. We want to mass produce those later. And they're really going to help us out. Alright, so let's have this curve around here. And this coal goes up top. Oh, and it doesn't have to go underground for that tree. Or that tree. There. And now when the iron plate is done, it can come up here and split in 2. And one of the plate lines comes down here, and one of the plate lines goes up here. Ooh boy, it's going to be quite a build, but we can pull it off. Hey, we're onto railway now, so we have gone through automobilism, I think. Let's go confirm that. Yes, we have. Wonderful. And steel plate we can send out this direction. Let's start loading up some of this coal. With our long-handed inserters, we need power on the job here, though. So let's hook up our power. We're pretty darn close to the power plant. So let's pull power over here. And there we go. Alright, gonna run that line all the way out, that output line. There we are. Now we got plate going out. On one side. Okay, now we got plate coming out on the other side as well. Let's check our inserter inventory. We're looking pretty good. And now back to the Factorio rhythm game. Okay, we're going to be unloading steel plate here. Flip that around. Unloading steel plate up here. And loading in the iron plate on this side. Got a little tiny bit of cleanup to do afterwards, but not too much. There's one. Here's another. Alright, now we need 40 of these long-handed inserters. That should do for now, and let's lay out these poles. So that way the furnaces can go down really fast. And then we should be able to bust out a bunch of steel plate pretty fast. We'll see. And then we're going to need to make another mini factory, one last mini factory, to make engines very quickly. Let's go hold F and pick up some stone and produce more of those furnaces. Alright, now we can Q and click and hold. Oh, let's do so inside here. Yep, there we go. We can do it very quickly. And then on the way back, we can do it very quickly on the belt. Oh, and we need more furnaces already. Oh, enough for one last one. Thought I'd picked up enough. There you go. Now we can deploy our long-handed inserters on the back row here. And then down below. Hook up the power, and we're good to go. And now we're producing steel plate. So let's make a mini factory for engines. We got a bunch of these assembly machines now. So let's pull some power up here and work backwards from our desired output. Let's just put a machine down, click in, intermediate products, engine takes steel plate. We can just put that in the chest, have it like a little mini chest-driven design out here. We have all the steel plate now, and on that note, we should keep like a buffer of this. So let's have it kind of come out and then go up there. Very good. So we're going to have a chest for that. Let's just say it's like right there, but then there's gear and pipe. So that's two machines here, gear, pipe, let's say. And oh, we need some more power poles, oh my. So let's say this is gear, and this is pipe. And both of these need iron plate, so we could have iron plate like right in here. Let's just put all our iron plate in there. And, well, that was not very wise, because we don't have any inserters. Let's go pick up some on our belt and inserter line. Just hold F there for a bit, and hold F on the plate gear circuit line too. There we are. We can starve our factory for a little bit there. So now we're feeling good. Let's come back and see how we're doing on the steel plate. Let's hold F and pick up a bunch. And go dump it into the chest. Boom, boom. And now we can make, let's experiment with our fast inserters here. Yeah, we can make them very fast. So let's load up plate here and here. And then the gears and the pipes go in there. And now we also need to load up the steel plate and then unload the engines. And I think we're good. We can even duplicate this again here. Let's do that. Boom. Let's do this faster. We can just right-click that a couple of times. Give ourselves some chests here. Unload and load. There we go. So now I'm just going to go pull iron plate. Let's go hold F on the main line here. Give ourselves about that much. That feels pretty good. Hold F on the steel plate line. Now we're going to put iron down here. Boom, boom, boom. And steel here. Now we can pull engines. We got a couple there. Let's let that cook for a bit, and we should be able to make a car yet by the end of this episode. So we've got our radar grid. That's feeling good. Oh, and we see some extra neighbors out there at the outskirts. And the exploration coverage distance is doing pretty good. We still see no oil, which are the magenta squares, which is a bummer. We're really going to need to explore for that. But once we get our car, that'll help us immensely. Alright, let's do a little tour. Take out any drills that are... Hey, there's that like 260 iron ore one. It's already Ready to go. Let's go pull our belts, and let's go take down our mini belt factory. It served us well. Aw. Alright, yeah, we tidied it up a bit here. We do still need to keep our resources kind of hardwired into the smelter. Eventually, when we get into a rail-driven design, there will be smelting facilities, and rail cars will be full of the raw ores, flying into these facilities, and then iron plate trains will be flying out of the facilities, going off to the individual item manufacturing plants, and what have you. It's a long ways off, but hey, let's go check on our engines and see if we can bust out a car here before the end of the episode. Let's go pull that and that. Looks like we can. Under logistics, if we go pick up, what are we missing here? Steel plate. Alright, let's go hold F a bit. We can make a car now, and cars can be coal powered, later on solid fuel powered, rocket fuel powered, whatever you got handy. So let's now take that car from our inventory. We can go put that down. Bam! It says it's out of fuel, so we can pick up some coal and control left click and place a bunch of stacks in there. If we click on the car, we can see there's its fuel slot, and there's a big trunk. If you have fuel in the trunk or ammo here, let's say we have some ammo. I'm going to hold Z. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to click in and then put some ammo in the trunk. If you run out of ammo, you can pull from the trunk, so you can keep a stockpile there. Same with the fuel. So now we got some little supplies going on in there. If we hit return or enter on there, now we can get in the car. So W is accelerate. S is put on the brakes. When you come to a stop, holding S will go reverse. It's like that. Yeah, W forward, S backwards, and then A and D to steer. And now we are pretty free here, feeling good and driving around. Okay, so now exploration should be a breeze. Ha ha ha. Alright. This has been the Jockio here. Oh, hold on. Let's go do our normal review. What am I even doing? Let's go back to where we were there. I'll go park next to our labs. Bam. Alright, let's do a goal review. Yes, we did finally deploy a radar grid that was anticipated previously, and we tidied up a bit, and we made our little steel line now, and we built a car, so no more question mark required there. Alright, this has been the Jockio here at Reset Industries. We're learning all about Factorio in our multi-part series. See you next time. Peace out.